Hi guys. Today we're looking at a relationship of the past for you. It could have ended in life but not in spirit, or there could still be some lessons that you need to learn from it, some wisdom that still needs to be extracted from it. It could be a relationship that's on your mind, but also could be something that your guides want to talk to you about and you haven't been thinking about it. Could be a romantic relationship, but could also be any other kind of relationship with a parent, with a friend, with your pet. I don't like using the word pets, but yeah. So pick a pile. We are going to go by color. So blue, red, and yellow. Okay. Pick a pile and head to your reading. If you need more time, just pause the video to look at the cards. Right? Okay, we're going to start with blue. Blue. This is a relationship that didn't quite take off ground. It never really began. There's a sense that you couldn't emerge from your shell, that it was really hard for you to open up to this person, that you were a lot more in your mental space than in a giving space or in an emotional space, and so you were observing them a lot and not feeling ready or open. Whatever you were seeing was making you feel hesitant to enter this. But this has been playing on your mind recently, why you did not give this relationship a chance. Maybe like a new relationship is on the horizon and you're worried that there are parallels, or you're trying to go back to the scene of this older relationship to understand how to act in this new one, because here you feel kind of the opposite. You feel sort of unbridled, like you want to give and give and give. You want to work as hard as you need to. It's both. You want to work hard emotionally, you want to give emotionally, but also practically. Yeah, you seem to have no defenses in this new relationship, in a happy way, not in an unhealthy, toxic way, but in a happy way. Like I'm all in. It's interesting that you're thinking of that other relationship where you want even a little bit in. Yeah, there's something of that relationship that is haunting you. Why you made the choice you did. So you made a very clear choice then. Well, I get it. So you're feeling really guilty about what you did in that relationship, because at the time it felt like the other person was all in and wanted to move really fast and you did not. And so, I think your decision was absolutely correct. Whatever you were observing was you were getting the right data, in the sense that this wouldn't have worked. You guys weren't a good fit with each other. They wanted very different things. Your sensibilities were very different. So I think you made the right decision, but you could have been really cold in how you told them, or how you walked away from them, or maybe you ghosted them even, because you have the Five of Swords in reverse here. So there was something in the way you behaved with them. There was something in the way you communicated your decision to them or didn't, that could have come from a place of feeling like they were not worthy of you, that they were somehow inferior, or even if you didn't think this consciously, your behavior, there was something in your behavior that could have made them feel humiliated, made them feel really small. And you're thinking about that right now with guilt, because because you are in this place now where you're so ready and so all in, and you're so excited by this other person. And I think it's a good match in the sense that whoever you're currently engaging with is also as enthusiastic as you, and it's a happy situation. But I think you're imagining what it would have been like for them in the past, because they were so excited and so ready, and you were not. That in itself would have been painful, but then the way you behaved with them, or the way you communicated your unwillingness to them, it could have been an added layer of pain and suffering that you you could have made sure that they didn't experience that. There's guilt about your actions in the past, and I think you saw them at the time as immature, but you're now seeing your own actions as being immature, as coming from a place of pride. I know better, I know what I'm doing. You have no clue what you're doing. There could have been a little bit of a status or an age gap, even if it was slight. I think you experienced it quite strongly. I'm thinking, I'm pausing because I'm thinking of like a friend in my past who was 31 and I was 29, and technically just 2 years, but they were very, they said this often, that no, but 2 years, but because it's after 30, they have a perspective that I could never have. And the way they said it, or the way they did it, was, I never responded, because it felt to me like the way they were talking about their maturity, that in itself felt really immature and insecure actually. And so that, I think you are experiencing your past self in that way, which I think is a sign of great maturity. Okay. What else about this? What else does Pile Blue need to know? Yeah, just more of the same. There's a lot of, it's possible you were very cold with this person, Pile Blue. Very cold, very, you may have thought, I'm just being honest, I'm just being brutally honest, but it was just brutal. And you already know this. I don't think I'm telling you anything new. I'm curious about what you can extract from this. Just not able to move on from this guilt. Yeah, there's something that your guides are trying really hard to communicate with you about this past self of yours, so that you can move on more smoothly with this new relationship. They're telling you to have beginner's mind in this new relationship. You know what? I think there might be two storylines here. One is that you are in a new relationship and it's happy, but the other storyline could be that you are falling in love with the person that you repudiated. And it could be happening because you're seeing them from a distance after many years and they've changed very much. And you're also seeing the error of your ways. There is some like a reopening of that old relationship. So, two storylines here, see which one is yours. Okay, whatever it is, for both of them, the message is that you need to have a beginner's mind with this new thing, whether it's with the old person or with the new person. You know, you have set images of what it means to have a committed relationship, a good relationship, a stable relationship. It feels like they're all tainted by a sense of superiority. So you could have grown up thinking that particular kinds of relationships are respectable and good, and particular kinds of relationships and attachments and excitements are bad and false and inferior. Okay, sorry, the message is coming in halting ways. Here's what I see. Whatever you did in the past was not a random thing, was not an error of judgment. It came from the sum of how you thought about relationships. Okay, so it's not saying you're a bad person, not at all, or you were a bad person, not at all. But it's that, you had certain assumptions about what relationships should be that caused you to judge this other person. Again, you could have been right in the sense that it's not a good fit, they still had some growing up to do, etc., etc. But still, the bulk of your judgment, because you can easily say to someone, I don't think we're a good fit, and that is not necessarily insulting. But when you say to someone, I don't think you're there yet, that is judgmental and that is condescending and that is humiliating for the other person. So you might have done something like that. And so your guides are saying that was not just because you had a moment of immaturity or that you couldn't see the other person clearly. It came from a deeper place of how you thought about relationships. It was not a mistake, it was an expression of who you were. Now, whatever this new relationship is, whether it's with another person or whether it's with this new person, it's real. Whatever it is, this is real, and it's going to prompt you to change. It's going to prompt you to leave aside these hierarchical valuations of what's a superior kind of relationship and what's an inferior kind of relationship, and simply just be in the moment. Open your heart and be in the moment and let the relationship progress on its own terms, because you may be surprised at what you want in the moment. It may really be different than what you thought you wanted. So if you wanted a traditional relationship, you might be surprised that you want a polyamorous relationship. Or if you've always been against traditional relationships and you like the idea of having an open relationship, you might be surprised that this time you're needing monogamy. Whatever it is, there is a surprise in how things are going to unfold, simply because all relationships are their own thing. And we are at a different stage, we are in a different moment of our own growth and development, and so it it's totally reasonable that we are different people in different relationships, and you were being guided to reflect on the assumptions that you had about what's a good relationship and what's a bad one, that made you behave the way you did in the past, and then let that go. See, you could have been thinking, oh, I didn't want them, that's why I behaved like that with them. But if it came from a place of how you thought about relationships, then it's likely that you might even give the new person that kind of a treatment, you know, even though you're all in. Does that make sense? Like, even though you're ready this time in this particular relationship, if you don't investigate those assumptions that led you to behave in a condescending way, that could still affect your relationship right now. So it could be that, that both of you are condescending, or both of you have similar assumptions about good relationships. So it's a good fit right now, but then slowly those judgments will start emerging. Yeah. So think about your past in a more expansive way. It's not just a mistake, it was an expression of who you were. Don't dim to fit in. Yeah, something's changing within you. Don't be afraid of that. You may need a very different kind of relationship than you did in the past. You're already doing it. Keep facing your true north. What are you clinging on to? Yeah. The ever unfolding rose cracked open. It's happening for you, not you. I'll interpret these in a second. Just try and get the messages out first. Trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? Boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? Okay, pile blue. So I really think that there is a very different relational template that is emerging in this new relationship, and you want something different than what you wanted in the past. So don't be afraid of the change that you're seeking. You might need some time, some boundaries, some kind of space to really figure out what you want. You have inherited certain models of relationship building that might, right now, you might need to distance yourself from them and just, be in the moment. It really feels like you have a very set way of doing things in terms of relationship building and relationship living, and that's changing radically. But you may be afraid of trusting that radical impulse within, thinking that I might mess this up like I did in the past. No. That is the direction that you need to go in. Whatever changes that are calling to you, whatever adventures are calling to you, that is the place to go. I'm feeling quite exhausted as I'm getting this message out, and also the way it was coming out in bits and pieces. I think you're very stressed about it, and you don't understand it because things are going well on the surface with this new relationship. I think this speaks to something very deep within you, about your individuality, about your own relationship needs, maybe even your sexual needs that you haven't really been able to accept before, or express before, or think that they could be integrated in a relationship in a healthy way, or in a way that is satisfying to you. Part of why you've been so insistent on doing things a particular way is also to guard against your own impulse to break that template. You might have wanted to do this a long time ago. Again, let's take an example to explain this better. Let's say that if you've always insisted it has to be a monogamous traditional relationship, you may have that the force of that insistence could have come from the fact that within you that was never something you wanted, but it had been ingrained within you that that's the only way to be happy, that polyamorous relationships are a mess or open relationships never work. And so because that you knew somewhere unconsciously that if it were up to you, you would have an open relationship, to squash that, you were even more insistent about being monogamous. I think this earlier person could have been a little bit more, fluid in how they wanted to build a relationship or be in a relationship or even inhabit their own body, and that could have been the bulk of your judgment against them. But your guides are saying that it came from a place not of actual judgment, but kind of self-repudiation, that you were not being judgmental towards their fluidity, but you were trying to squash yours by projecting it on them. Bad, bad, bad. But actually, you were saying that to the impulse fluidity within. I hope this makes sense, Pile Blue. If it's feeling confusing, or if you feel like you need a little bit more clarity, put in a comment and I'll see if I can answer that question. I'm offering this because I know that the message came out in kind of a halting way. So feel free to put in a question in the comments, or just share how you're confused and I'll see what I can do. Yeah. All right, Paldo, that's your reading. Okay, pile yellow. Look at this beautiful card. See if there are some messages for you in this card. If there's something in this image that speaks directly to you. One thing I feel straight away in this pile is a lot of sadness about this past relationship. It could have ended very suddenly, and you were left holding the bag. Yeah, 9 of Swords in reverse. Took you very much by surprise, and that made it harder to digest. The Moon in reverse, secrets could have come out. The Hermit in reverse, so someone wasn't doing what they said they were. This feels very much like a cheating story, and could be romantic infidelity, sexual infidelity, but it could also be, like a friend betraying you in some way, or a parent figure doing something that they weren't supposed to be doing. Feels like a betrayal occurred, and the way it happened feels brutal. 10 of Cups in reverse. Ace of Wands in reverse. 3 of Pentacles in reverse. I'm really sorry, pile yellow. If this is a romantic relationship, you were cheated on. Whoever this was, they felt like your relationship was dead, that they were very unhappy in it, but they couldn't bring themselves to end it, and instead they cultivated a very intricate secret life. It's feeling really well established, the secret life. And it may not have been cheating with another person, it could also be cheating in another way. Like they had a whole, you know, like they had a drug addiction, or they would go on trips without telling you. Basically, it's feeling like a whole world of lies, very well established world. So you could have learned after years that something had been going on. That is so shitty. I'm so sorry, Pile. Yeah, the Wheel of Fortune, and it's just, oh my god. Yeah, it's a sudden turn of events. Ten of Wands in reverse. Oh my god. Yeah, the Magician in reverse. So, you came to know, you immediately decided, very healthy response, to end the relationship. But, and you did it. You may have moved out if you were living together. Everything that needed to be done on paper, you did it with a, very clear head. This has to end. But it's not ended for you emotionally. In fact, you may still have a lot of love for this person. You may still feel, it's almost like you understand that they did something terrible, and there was no way that you would give them another chance. Or not that they were, I don't know if they were asking, but there was no way that you are going to ever enter this situation again. And at the same time, your heart is big enough, or you know them well enough, or both, that you sort of understand what in them made them do this. You still have a lot of love for them. And I don't know why it's coming up in this reading, because it also feels like you are very clear that you will never have them in your life again. And you're at peace with the love that you still feel for them. But you are at peace, but it's still extremely painful. I can imagine that. So let's see, what is it that your guides want to tell you about this relationship? How can they help you in this moment? 10 of Pentacles in reverse, Queen of Cups in reverse, the Ninth Sun, 3 of Cups. Okay. All right. The bloodshed here, my god. They're saying you're being too forgiving. Okay. So, listen, Pile Yellow, and try and listen to this with an open heart. Doesn't resonate, let it go, okay? Let me start with saying you've done a fantastic job. You have a very big heart, and you're not yelling at them, you're not blaming them, you're not even carrying bitterness in your heart. That is an extraordinary feat of humanness. That's amazing. What your guides are saying could be a little triggering, okay? What your guides are saying is that part of why you've been forgiving, so forgiving, you're still allowing yourself to feel love for them, just real, is that there is still, that's also a way for you to not fully accept how shitty this was. That if you were to allow yourself, to see how, awful this was towards you, how badly you were treated, it would be unbearable. It would be unbearable because you've been amazing to them in the relationship and after it. And so it's almost like it's easier, as hard as it is, it's easier for you to forgive them than actually face the extent of the awfulness in their treatment of you. And your guides are saying you need to do that. You need to witness the ugly truth here. Because part of the love that you feel towards them comes from this place of avoidance. Part of the love that you feel for them comes from a place of, they suffered a lot in their life, they did it because, etc., etc. And what your guide's asking you to do is to be able to say within you, there is nothing, there can be no cause big enough to support their behavior towards you. That there was an error of judgment there, that they sinned against you, that they overlooked, they treated you as if you were not, that you were not a divine being. There was a profaning in their treatment of you that you need to face so that you can be anchored in your sacredness. Now, usually the messages, you need to let it go, and usually the messages that you need to see this other person more holistically, but for you the message is no, you need to zero in on the awfulness that this person subjected you to, because there's something in you that is flinching from this truth. It's painful for you, the situation already is, but and usually people feel relieved when they're able to say, you were awful, you did this horrible thing to me, but for you it's the opposite. Admitting to yourself how horrible this person was, or unfair, or just, it feels so wrong. Payal, what they did, whatever they did, it feels so wrong. I wanna sob right now. It feels so wrong, and that I think your guides are encouraging you to face. Your loving heart is real, but you also need to see this for what it was, because I think there you will experience a greater balance between your loving heart and also your boundaries, your inner feminine and also your inner masculine. The inner masculine will be able to say, no, get out. And the inner feminine will be able to say, I continue to honor your divinity in spite of what you did to me. But you need both. You need both. inner temple, devotion. Tune into the portal of your heart. This person wasn't devoted to you. Deep replenishment, retreat, rest, be held. Pillar of light, your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. The child within, innocence, gentleness, tenderness. This child must be protected. This child must not be exposed to this person. Align your life. Yeah. Seeding the light, laying foundations, fertile void. It's going to feel shitty for a while, pile yellow. So I think that in this, as you start accepting the extent of the cruelty here, the injustice here, you may also start seeing injustice in your other relationships where people have, maybe not to this extent, but in some ways mistreated you also, and you've similarly been forgiving and kind. There's something that just, it feels like it's really hard for you to see that witness other people's selfishness. Like that breaks you for some reason. Other people's selfishness, when other people are turned away from the truth of the other person, like that is just intolerable for you. But you've learned to tolerate it by saying, no problem. As your guides are saying, no, go deeper. No, there is a problem. Big problem. And you are now capable emotionally to deal with it, to deal with the reality of other people's selfishness. You don't need to manage it with love anymore. You don't need to manage it with like an open heart anymore. You do have the resources to say, no, that's shitty. And allow yourself to witness the extent of it, the extent of other people's selfishness and cruelty. It's not going to break you. Instead, it's going to strengthen you. I'm not able to see how, but this is what is now needed in your emotional development journey, in your relational balance journey. See other people's shadows clearly. Alright, Pariago, this is really tough work that your guides have outlined for you. 100% sure you can do it. But I'm sending you my love and I'm sending you strength. Alright, pile red. You've been you acted in an imbalanced way in a past relationship. What kind of imbalance could be you were too controlling, and we all, in our early relationships, we're all out of balance in some way. So it's not a judgment. I'm just reading the cards here, reading the energy. So you could have been very controlling in a past relationship, needing the other person to be a certain way, even if it's like you have to be progressive or you have to support the rights of so and so. You could have also done a little bit of spying on them. Basically, you've acted in a way that feels wrong right now. 5 of Cups in reverse. regret. You lost yourself there for a bit. It doesn't feel anything like hideous, like you hitting someone or raping someone or violating them. Might have violated their privacy, I think, in a mild way. There is such a thing. But it does feel like, yeah, you acted in a way that feels really morally wrong to you, which is a sign of maturity. Yeah, you were not emotionally stable in that relationship. So there could have been a lot of yelling, emotional, verbal abuse, I'm hearing. Okay, so then that is hideous. I mean, that is violative. I think you've done a lot of work on yourself, pile red, to be able to say these things about yourself. Yeah, you're now the King of Swords. So maybe you've undergone a lot of therapy, you've done a lot of solid inner work to be able to see this about yourself. This is good work, pile red. Very few of us get here when we're able to see our abusive tendencies for what they are, and know that we are not that person anymore. Yeah, so you've already done a lot of learning from this relationship, so let's see what your guides want to say today. There is some part of it where you don't have clarity. It's a lack of vision. The moon in reverse, 3 of Wands in reverse. You want to be with this person. It could have been a romantic relationship, could have also been a friend. You think they are your fulfillment, that there's just, you keep circling back to them, but you're afraid to get in touch with them. I can see that. Yeah, you're not sure it's a good idea. Yeah, because for them you are still that person who is out of control emotionally. Yeah. High Priestess in reverse, Princess of Wands in reverse. Oof. Yeah, your guides want to confirm that, whatever you're feeling for this person right now is real. Like, you're not imagining it, you're not whipping up all of that love to make yourself feel better about the past. Okay, pile red, you have done solid inner work to be here. All the work that you've done, all the ways in which you've understood how you were in the past, what kinds of mistakes you made, you've learned so much from them. And the love you feel for this person is very, very real. Do not second guess it. You are ready finally to be in a real relationship with them, in a loving relationship with them. And you're rightfully afraid that, though you are ready, it may not be the right thing to get in touch with them. But they're coming across as the Empress. But Queen of Cups in reverse, the Tower. Okay. Yeah, they've had to do a lot of their own healing in this situation, and it's taken them a long time. Your relationship was very big Tower moment for them. They also had to learn a lot from it, because they were letting certain kinds of behavior just go, instead of opposing them and challenging them, and it's like accepting the love that they thought they deserved, and they had to heal all of that. And they worked very hard, like you. And they're still working on it, like you. Okay, this is a little bit of a difficult message for you, Pile Red. Your love is real, but they don't. Your guides are saying that you need to walk away from this person. They need to move in a different direction. Okay, they are moving in a different direction, and even if you were to get in touch with them, it's basically like whatever's happened, they cannot enter this relational space again. It's not about the fact that you haven't changed, it's for themselves. They need to demonstrate to themselves that they have enough self-respect, or they've grown enough to be able to walk away. And so they have been walking away, and they are walking away, and even if you get in touch with them, their decision is going to be, the healthy thing for them is going to be to keep walking away. Yeah, I think that this message is coming through because even if you have been corresponding with your guides, if they've been saying no, don't get in touch with them, you may have been thinking it's because they're asking you to heal more, change more, do more work before you're ready to get in touch with them. But it's not about you needing more work, it's just let them go. Cut the cords. Break the chain. They are also breaking the chain. You are also breaking the chain. Both of you have learned a lot from this relationship. Your relationship had a double mission, both of exposing you to each other's energy. You could be soulmates. We have a lot of soulmates. And also teaching each other very difficult lessons. Release the petals. Death, rebirth, shedding, transformation, change. You have to walk away from this person. Pile red. It's feeling really painful. Warrior woman, have you answered your deepest calling? And look at this card. There's a sword here. Cut the cord. This person is your soul tribe, but you meet other members of your soul tribe in this incarnation for this particular arc of growth. Your relationship is done. Okay? They need to go on their own way, and you need to go on your own. The initiation, rite of passage, crossing the threshold. This is going to be the final bit of your learning. You've done all of this work to change and get better, and now the final bit of your learning is to actually walk away. Who or what is triggering you? It's going to be painful as you let this person go, especially after all the changes that you've made, possibly in the hope that you can be reunited with them. Yeah, so it's going to be painful to let them go, but that is what you're guided to do right now, Pile Red. Good going though. Solid work here, and your guides are commending you for the kind of emotional and relational growth you've experienced through this relationship. Alright, Pile Red, all the best with what is to come.